Welcome and thank you for joining us for another session of our VU Elevenses program. We're sharing our program with our community in this time of need as we all continue to work together and adapt to the changes required of us to manage COVID-19. My name is Alex, and in this session we will explore the concept of self-compassion. First, we'll look at what self-compassion is. Some of you may be familiar with the concept already, but some of you may not be, so it's important to define what it is that we're talking about. We'll then explore how self-compassion may be helpful for mental and emotional well-being during the COVID-19 pandemic, and conclude with a brief exercise that you can use anytime you need a bit of self-compassion. So what is self-compassion? It's a practice of showing kindness, care, and understanding towards ourselves in the face of perceiving failings or during times of suffering. It's also about recognising that we are all imperfect and vulnerable, and that this is fundamental to being human. And finally, it involves showing mindful, non-judgmental awareness and acceptance of all our experiences, both pleasant ones and unpleasant ones. So why might this help during the COVID crisis? You might be feeling loneliness and a sense of disconnection due to the lockdown, but maybe trying to overcome or suppress those unpleasant feelings by saying that others have it worse than you do. Or you may find you're working less productively than usual because your home environment is less than ideal for work or study. This might make you feel guilty for not getting things done, but that's probably not helpful. Showing self-compassion is a way to acknowledge your feelings and experiences and perceived shortcomings, without judgment, in the same way you would treat a friend in a similar difficult situation. To understand self-compassion a bit better, I think it's useful to compare systems that may get activated during difficult times or in the face of unpleasant feelings. Many of you will have heard of the fight or flight response. This is the threat defense system that evolved to help us choose what to do in the face of physical danger. Do we stay and fight the angry bear that wants to attack us? Do we run away from it? Or do we stand still like a statue and hope it doesn't notice us? That's the freeze response. But there are psychological parallels to this when we're faced with threatening feelings or experiences. We may criticise or judge ourselves when feeling things we think are unacceptable. This is like fighting the feeling. Or we may feel alone and isolated when having an unpleasant experience, thinking, I'm the only one who feels this way. We may also try to ignore or shut down the feeling. This is flight. Or we may ruminate over feelings and identify with them to the point where we become our feelings. This is freezing, as it stops us moving forward. A more self-compassionate response, though, involves being kind to ourselves instead of judging, feeling a sense of common humanity rather than feeling isolated, and non-judgmentally observing and accepting our experiences through mindfulness rather than ruminating or over-identifying. It's also important to be aware that self-compassion is not the same as self-pity, which is more about becoming immersed in and obsessed with our own problems, especially if we feel we're not to blame for them. And it's not the same as self-indulgence, which can involve letting ourselves get away with unhealthy behaviours, like watching TV all day because we feel stressed and need to relax. In fact, the care intrinsic to self-compassion can help us to feel a greater sense of accountability to ourselves and more motivation to grow and change, because it removes the fear or unpleasantness of self-criticism or condemnation. I'm now going to take you through a brief guided meditation that draws together the core elements of self-compassion. I adapted this from Dr. Kristen Neff's website, which I've given here, to be more specific to the COVID-19 situation. I encourage you to check out her website if you're interested in self-compassion and want more information and exercises. So I invite you to sit in a comfortable position, legs uncrossed, both feet on the ground, and to close your eyes while I take you through this exercise. This practice is called the SelfCompassion Break, and it's something you can do at any time during the day or at night when you need a little self-compassion. To practice this exercise, we actually need to call up a little suffering. So I'd invite you to think about an aspect of the COVID-19 situation right now that is difficult for you. Maybe you're feeling more stressed than usual, or you're having trouble keeping up a regular routine at home, or you're worried about your loved ones, or you're missing your friends and family and your normal life in general. I'd invite you to think of something that's difficult about COVID but not overwhelmingly difficult, especially if you're new to practicing self-compassion. If you can't connect with something specific, try to simply focus on how you feel about this situation. Let's explore this in silence for just a few moments. So finding the problem and getting in touch with it, what's going on, what might happen, who's saying what, how it's all making you feel, really bringing the situation to life in your mind's eye. And then I'm going to be saying a series of phrases that are designed to help us remember the 3 components of self-compassion when we need it most. So the first phrase is, "This is a moment of suffering." We're bringing mindful awareness to the fact that suffering is present. And I'd like you to find some language that speaks to you. Something like, "This is really hard right now," or "I'm really struggling." Or actually turning toward our difficulty, acknowledging it, naming it. This is a moment of suffering. The second phrase is, "Suffering is a part of life." Right now, the suffering we may be feeling is a very unusual and unfamiliar kind of suffering, but it's something we're all facing, and it reminds us of our common humanity. And again, finding language that speaks to you. It may be something like, "It's not abnormal to feel this way. Many people are feeling this right now." The degree of suffering may be different. The flavour of suffering may be different. But this suffering is part of being human, and we are all human beings. And then the third phrase is, "May I be kind to myself in this moment." And to support bringing kindness to yourself, I'd invite you to perhaps put your hands over your heart or some other place on your body that feels soothing and comforting. Feeling the warmth of your hands, the gentle touch. Letting those feelings of care stream through your fingers. May I be kind to myself. And using any language that supports that sense of kindness, perhaps language you would use with a good friend you care about who is also struggling. It may be something like, "I'm here for you. It's going to be okay. I care about you." You could try calling yourself by your first name. "You're doing it tough, Alex." Anything that feels natural to express your deep wish that you be well and happy and free from suffering. And then letting go of the practice and noticing how your body feels right now, allowing any sensations to be just as they are, allowing yourself to be just as you are in this moment. And now slowly open your eyes. That concludes this session of VU Elevenses. Thank you again for joining us, and we invite you to check out our other sessions on taking care of yourself during the COVID-19 crisis. Wishing you all the best.